This is one of the topics you've requested more than almost any other. It took a long time to find stories that were both believable and genuinely unsettling, but today, I've gathered 2 school lockdown stories that people still haven't forgotten. Let's get into the first one. It was a typical Friday afternoon during 7th period calculus. Spring break was only hours away, and nobody in class could focus anymore. Our teacher wasn't planning on giving us any work, so he pulled up a trivia game online and we all started shouting out answers. I still remember the exact moment everything changed. Right after someone answered Adidas on one of the questions, the dean's voice suddenly came over the loudspeaker. His voice sounded completely different than usual. "This is not a drill. All teachers initiate lockdown procedures immediately." The room instantly went silent. Even our usually relaxed teacher looked terrified. He rushed to switch off the lights, locked the classroom door, and told everyone to move into the back corner of the room. Nobody said a word. A few minutes later, the building suddenly went quiet. The constant electrical humming disappeared, making us realize the power had been shut off. Then, we heard screaming. A man's voice echoed through the hallway. It sounded closer every second. Suddenly, he began yelling, "I'll kill all of you!" The screaming was followed by violent banging against the lockers. Several students started crying. Then the footsteps stopped, right outside our classroom. The banging moved to our door. The entire room froze. The man kept screaming, "Open up!" Every hit against the door felt stronger than the last. It seemed to last forever, until the footsteps slowly continued down the hallway. Nearly 10 minutes later, the dean finally came back over the intercom. He explained that an unstable man had entered the school after attacking their receptionist. Nobody knew if he was armed. Teachers were instructed to stay inside with the doors locked while staff searched every hallway. They never found him. Later that evening, one of the night janitors reportedly discovered the same man asleep inside a storage closet near the back of the school. Rumors quickly spread that a large revolver was sticking out of his pocket. Before police arrived, he had disappeared. To this day, nobody from my class knows if that man was ever caught. The second lockdown happened at the beginning of October. It was cold, cloudy, and raining all morning. Our school had 2 lunch periods, and I happened to be eating during the first one. Without warning, 4 loud booms echoed outside. At first I assumed it was thunder, but everyone around me immediately started screaming. Campus security rushed into the cafeteria yelling for everyone to leave their food behind and get into the multi-purpose room. Within minutes, hundreds of students were packed inside. The room had huge glass windows facing outside. Staff members quickly closed every curtain and stationed adults at every exit. Nobody knew what was happening. One of my friends asked a staff member what was going on. When he came back, he whispered, "A man living across the street barricaded himself inside his house. Police are surrounding the place." According to what staff had been told, the man was threatening to kill both himself and responding officers if they tried to force him out. Worse still, students later learned he had spent the morning standing outside, watching children arrive at school. Rumors spread that he was also a registered sex offender. We remained locked inside the building for nearly an hour before police finally secured the area. After everything ended, classes resumed as normal. Later that day, one of my friends revealed something that made the whole situation even more disturbing. She lived only a few houses away from the man. The previous Halloween, she had seen him standing at his window, covered in blood after cutting his own arm, writing a message across the glass. At the time, everyone assumed it was some twisted Halloween decoration. After the lockdown, they realized it wasn't. It was simply another warning sign that had been ignored. I was 23 years old, fresh out of college, when I got hired as a computer technician at my old high school. Most of my work was done in the school's basement. The basement itself was dark, cluttered and poorly organized. But hidden inside it was a surprisingly comfortable three-person office. It had large desks, 2 mini fridges, a wall-mounted TV, powerful air conditioning, and all of the school's computer servers. I only got the job because 3 of my former computer teachers strongly recommended me. We'd stayed in touch after graduation, and they treated me more like a friend than a former student. Everything about the job was great. Until one afternoon, a few weeks later. Both of my co-workers had gone upstairs, leaving me alone in the basement office during my lunch break. I had just started eating my sandwich when my phone rang. It was someone from the front office. Her voice sounded rushed. "The school is going into lockdown. Someone may have entered the building with a weapon." The call ended almost immediately. There wasn't much I could do, despite how nice the office was. It didn't even have a proper door. Just a large, open entrance. Even worse, the basement entrance itself couldn't be locked. I switched off every light, turned off my computer monitor, and quietly sat beneath the darkness of the office. I texted both of my co-workers. No response. For nearly 20 minutes, I sat there in complete silence, staring at my phone while waiting for someone to announce that the lockdown had ended. Nothing. From the basement, I couldn't hear anything happening upstairs. No voices, no alarms, no footsteps, just silence. Then, the basement door slowly creaked open. The sound echoed through the entire basement. I instinctively looked toward the stairwell. Maybe one of my co-workers had finally come back. A few seconds later, someone came running down the stairs. Fast. The footsteps were getting closer. Closer, until they reached the office. I immediately slid under my desk, barely daring to breathe. Whoever it was stepped inside, but never turned on the lights. Everything went silent again. I don't think I've ever been that terrified in my life. I was convinced that if I made even the slightest sound, I wouldn't make it out alive. Then my phone betrayed me. Ding. A text message notification. My heart completely stopped. The footsteps immediately changed direction. They were walking straight toward my desk. Each step sounded louder than the last. I knew hiding was pointless. In a panic, I crawled out from beneath the desk with my hands raised, begging the person not to hurt me. Instead of attacking me, someone grabbed my arm and pulled me to my feet. Standing in front of me was a man wearing a red plaid shirt, blue jeans, and a dark baseball cap. He whispered, "Relax, I'm hiding down here too." Trying to keep my voice steady, I whispered back, "What's happening upstairs?" He ignored the question. Instead, he looked around nervously before asking, "Is there another way out of this basement?" I pointed toward the emergency exit at the far end of the hallway. He immediately started walking in that direction, before he disappeared into the darkness. I stopped him with one question. "Who are you?"